You can hear me all right, Brad?
Yep.
Excellent. I think we're nearly ready to go here. Do you know if we're waiting on anybody else, Brad, or are we good to go?
Actually, I'll have a look at the drivers at the moment.
Yep.
Because
if we're good to go, I'll kick off soon.
Yeah. So we got both classes. We're missing one racing point, which is righty, but I don't know if he's on or not. And then we're missing the other alpha. I'm pretty sure.
I'll just
I have no idea who that is. So.
Just waiting to get official word.
Yeah. I know there's no other Toro Rosso because there's no Jared, and I don't think we've gotten a reserve in for Jared. So.
Yeah, yep, cool. We've got 18 people, I think, or 16 drivers, 18
16,
people.
Yeah.
I've messaged Jason to just see if we can start. 2 people watching now, that's good. Sinbad's Cellar and Wine, but no, I won't ring that up. That's a bit naughty. Okay.
It'd be hilarious though.
Okay, cool. We're ready to go, so here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching right around the world. Hello and welcome everybody to round 3 of this SRL F1 2019 Championship. Coming to you this week from the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia. And a big hola to everybody watching out there tonight. We saw last week a dominant performance by DRC Jared in China. And he won't be here this week. We've got a couple of outs this week, actually, while I mention it. Jared, of course, Donga and Righty, all not racing as we get ready to go racing here. And I welcome my co-commentator back for another week, the great man himself, Bradley Marshall. Brad, good evening to you.
Yeah, it is a good evening. Here we are at Barcelona in Spain. And the birth nation of my favourite F1 driver, Fernando Alonso. So... hopefully this race is not a yoke, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yes, very nicely done there. All the time, you need to leave it a space. Fernando, yes, a big hola to Fernando. Who knows, he might be watching as well. But like we said, the Circuit de Catalunya here in Barcelona, first hosting the Spanish Grand Prix back in 1991, also coinciding with the Olympic Games the year after, also taking place in Barcelona. This circuit, 4.65 kilometres, 2.89 miles long, 16 corners, lap record set by Daniel Ricciardo at Red Bull, back when he was at Red Bull in 2018. Also, a few other series race here. Very interesting track, and one where the cars do a lot of testing, Brad. And is it a track that you like? Are you a big fan of this place?
I'm a bit iffy about it. Like, I prefer how the track was back in the mid-2000s, where there was no chicane put in just before the last corner. It was just a nice sweeping corner that would come around onto the front straight. But they've added a chicane in there, which I didn't really think was necessary. It is difficult for drivers to go through there, so it'll be interesting to see if drivers get any corner cutting penalties there. But the rest of the track is so nice and so flowing. It's just that last part of the track where they've added the chicane that really disappoints me about this track.
Yes, turns 13, 14, 15 and 16, of course, as we count down to qualifying for this round of the championship. Like we said, round 3. And it is a shame, Brad, I must admit, the racer in me likes to see those classic corners. I think it might have been after Heikki Kovalainen had a bad accident there in the McLaren a few years ago from memory. I think that may have been the reason for the change, but I could be wrong, as Kane Leishman has joined us. He says hi, and hello to you, Kane. And Sam Cham says, well, he's not a big fan of Devon Butler. Just some comments there about him and grannies. But anyway, we'll look at the points And we've got the points up here, and it is Harry Ryan for Mercedes leading this championship with 2 second-place finishes in round 1 and round 2 of this championship. DRC Jared in second with the win last week and the fastest lap. And, well, I think we might have said last week he was taking the piss. Then it's Cart Dude in third, and it's very tight, this championship, Brad. Only 2 rounds down, but very tight at the top and throughout the field.
Very tight at the top and throughout the field. One guy I would like to say that's had an unfortunate turn of events at the start of the season is our man Wilco. I would also like to wish him a happy birthday. Turned 24 today, so we'll see if he's got a bit of birthday luck on his side. But yeah, very tight in the championship. With Jared out, this is the time to capitalise because, like we said, he was taking the piss last week. A casual Sunday drive for him. He could have stopped and visited the Queen if he wanted to. So we'll see what happens, but this is the time to capitalise while Jared's not racing.
Like we said, you've certainly got to take your opportunities when they come up. Like we said, Righty, Jared and Donga not racing. Sam Cham, our man on the F1 Banner Facebook page, also has a quali ban, so he will be right down the back there in 15th or 16th as well. And like we said, a big happy birthday to Jason Wilkinson. And I've sung happy birthday. Also, Alan Shep's birthday as well, a good friend of the stream and a good friend of ours, Brad. But also, Rob Dog 1996 is racing tonight. A former co-commentator of myself on these streams. So we're certainly in for a pretty entertaining night of action here this evening.
We definitely are. We're just getting quali underway. I completely forgot about Sam Cham's qualifying penalty, but unfortunate for him, back at the bottom of the grid, and he will have his decision of what tyre he wants to go onto and whatever strategy he may want to do throughout the race. As we see, for the first time, I believe, in a while, we've actually got both Red Bulls on the grid, so that's quite nice to see.
We certainly do, and we were talking about a driver change, I think, last week, and I reckon we have got a driver change. Rob Dog's in the Red Bull, I think, or is he in the Toro Rosso? I think he's in the Red Bull, but we'll double-check that, as, yes, Red Bull, as Kane says, hopefully I don't crash out. Well, we're thinking the same, Crumpkin, and Butler says, sorry, lads, can't race tonight, as BK, the big Bailey Kennedy says, go BK, Butler tonight will be for you and your female companions. Oh, I don't like where this is going. And dry qualifying says our man Wilco, the birthday man. This could get spicy, Brad. We're predicting rain at the 30-minute mark of the race. Race dry, then we're going to see rain, apparently, according to our man Wilco.
Ooh, well, that's just got me completely excited because everything they would learn in qualifying and the start of the race goes out of the window when the rain comes down. So that is going to throw another spanner into the works, and boy, am I looking forward to seeing the rain.
Can't wait to see that as we take a look at Danielson in the Mercedes AMG Petronas team, the number 43, currently on a hot lap here on the hard tyres. A little bit interesting, the tyre choice, Brad, like you said, that will go out the window if we do have changeable conditions in the race, but half the field seem to be going on the softs, and then we've got the others on the hard tyres. Very interesting choice for the tyre strategy here.
Very interesting. I will say during practice, it was a lot of laps on the harder compounded tyres because you want to have the best advantage in the race, and that's a one-stop. So if you qualify on the softs, you're more than likely going to be forced to do a two-stop because the tyres just can't reach the end of the race. With rain coming though, it might change everyone's thoughts on what tyres they want to start on, but I still believe starting on the medium or the hard tyre is probably the best, considering you can run until those conditions will change to wet.
Yes, here we go now as Danielson across the line. No, he might just be starting a hot lap now. As soon as I say that, we've got Crumpkin on the medium tyres, and a big hello to Mitch, who's asking the question, Brad, who will take the piss tonight? That is the real question, and Stress Budget Racing says, hi blokes, Go, Rob Dog, the old dog, for a hard road, they say. Big hello to you as we might just keep flicking through here. And what sort of times are we expecting, Brad? We saw times in the 119s, 120s even in practice before this round tonight, but we've even seen times down into the 118s if you're super quick around here.
Yeah, if you're super quick around here, a 118 to 119 is going to be your best time. If you're just a tiny bit slower, a 120, but they're the times that we're going to see, the 120, 119, 118. It all depends on what tyre you're on, and oh my god, just on board with Danielson, I believe Williams just completely stopped on the racing line. Luckily they ghosted, but that would have given Danielson a real scare right there.
Yes, as we take a look now, riding on board with Danielson. We'll just wait and see. We didn't quite get footage of that incident with the Williams, but as he comes around onto the start-finish straight now, he needs to beat a 119.4, and he can only get a 120.5. But like you said, it could have been because of that Williams, as DRC Jared's been good enough to join us. He says, g'day, g'day. Harry's going to take the piss tonight. Boy, there was good value for money in that joke last week, Brad, because the boys have been running with it all week. But let's take a look at the times. Surprisingly, just the three drivers setting times so far, Brad, and we've travelled 6 minutes in this qualifying session.
Yeah, only 3 drivers, and it might just be a thing to wait until the last possible moment to get a lap out. But then even still, they may be debating on what strategy they want to do before, it comes to the race. Yeah, only 3 drivers. A 119, quite solid from our man Fubbles there. A 120 by Danielson, I'd say that he got a bit impeded by the Williams in the last sector there, so that would have cost him some time. Rico in the, not fourth India, I was about to say fourth India, the racing point actually. A 129 definitely isn't good enough, so hopefully he can pick up some speed and we'll be able to improve on that time.
He'll be hoping he can do that. 11.5 minutes to go in this session. All 9 people watching this stream, we love each and every one of you. And I have been in contact with the SRL royalty, of course, who have said that we should be promoting the Xbox One League, the PC League, and don't forget to head to the SRL website, supremeracingleague.com.au, if you're interested in getting involved in the Supreme Racing League. As we ride on board with our man Wilco, he's looking very, very quick here, Brad, and this could be a super quick time for the birthday boy Wilco.
It could be quick. I was on board with him. He had a little moment going into sector on the straight in sector 2. But that will put him in second position on hard tyres. And as you can see, he's only 4/10 off Bubbles, so that's an incredible time. As his teammate just goes a few hundredths slower than him.
And then
Ryan just puts it up into second.
The times are they're starting to tumble, Bradley, as the Mercedes of Harry Ryan there. And DRC Jared saying Harry's going to be taking the piss tonight. Well, a 119.5, it's not unbeatable, but I'm a little bit worried about Fubbles up there in P1. With that 119.4 on the soft tyres. As you can see, Fubbles there off to the right, doing the right thing and getting off the racing line. So 4 drivers, in fact, in the 119s. The 2 Ferraris locking out the second row of the grid here tonight, and there is nothing between them at the moment, and both on the hard tyres. So Hef and Wilco there matching each other for pace. Let's hope we don't see team orders tonight as we flick through the order. Danielson's gone back into the pits after that 120.5. V8 man Dane Williams from Queensland in Victoria. What a battle we saw between the 2 McLarens last week, Brad, in China. And they'll be looking to repeat that performance this week. Well, hopefully if the McLaren is quick around here. But what a battle we saw last week from the 2 teammates.
Yeah, it was quite the ding-dong battle between these 2, and it wasn't just over 1 lap, it was multiple laps, and they were gaining DRS off each other, which still allowed them to pull away from their competitors. It was unfortunate at the end of the race that the penalties cost them, because they would have been on for P3 and P4, but unfortunately Jono, with the multiple penalties that he had, it dropped him down to P7, so that was really unfortunate. Hopefully this week they avoid the penalties and they can have another great showing.
Here we go, the McLaren, the first of the McLarens to set a competitive lap time, a 121.9 for Dane there on the hard tyres. We'll keep flicking through the order there. Rick Oztech in the Racing Point. He's done a 129.439, but that may have been a warm-up lap as Nemo. Is Nemo on a hot lap? No, I think he's on an out lap. We'll keep flicking through as Jono, a man, Brad, who likes to be a little bit cagey, doesn't he? We saw him. He likes to start further down the order and make his way up the order in the race on fresh tyres. So I wonder if he's going to come out tonight now as we ride on board with Bailey Kennedy, who's on the hard tyres like a majority of the field, and he's yet to set a quick time. Still just 7 drivers have set a time so far in this session, as we've got a tick over 8 minutes remaining now, as here he comes through turns 14, 15 and 16. And we said at the top of the stream, a shame that corner was taken away. It used to be a long flowing corner, as he's had some trouble there potentially with traffic as he comes across the line, and it's a 119.882, Brad. So we've got 3 drivers in the 119.8s. It's very, very tight there at the top of the order.
It's very tight in the top of the order there. It's great to see the 2 Ferraris in 3rd and 4th, to be honest. Polly has been Nemo off into the wall, and that's going to be that lap time gone, and we'll probably have to pit for a new front wing as well.
And I can see a front wing end plate that will need replacing there. So Nemo's just bottled his lap. Very, very scruffy lap there from Nemo, as Big Dick Johnson still there in the Paddock Club, mixing it with the ladies. Sam has the qualifying ban, of course, as here he comes. Good old Kane, Crumpkin Kano. He hasn't set a time yet. He's out on the mediums, and he's straight out into the gravel trap and into the barrier, so not good for him as we take a look at Honest Crook there. And now here he is, Rob Dog. What can he do? He just picked up this game recently, of course, Brad, when it was on sale, I think, on the PSN store, but it's great to have Rob Dog back. And as Sam says, that the qualifying ban is a blessing in disguise. But let's just enjoy this lap with Rob Dog 1996. Look at that on the absolute limit. And it's great to see him back on the F1 game.
Definitely is. This is my first time meeting with mate Roberto, so hopefully he has a good showing. He did point out that in his career race, he did get I believe it was a 118.6 for his quali time, so he's definitely got pace. We'll just see if that shows through tonight. Hopefully it does, and hopefully he's able to get that Red Bull inside the top 10.
Let's hope Red Bull not having a great time last week, as it looks like Fubbles has improved on his time. He's gone to a 119.368 as we ride on board with Roberto. Rob Maverick Spicy Boy, Rob Dog 1996, one of our beloved regulars. Top 5 at least, I'd say, as he negotiates the last couple of corners out onto the main straight. He's on the medium tyres. He's yet to set a time. Can he mix it with the big boys at the front? He goes straight up to a 119.807. And Brad, he has jumped the 2 Ferraris, BK and more. What a good lap there. First time out on the medium tyres as well from Rob Dog.
That was quite an astonishing lap, I've got to say. There were moments even with lockups, and I thought the lap was gone. But to put in a 119.8, go ahead of the 2 Ferraris and BK, who are also on the 119, that's an incredible lap. And he's just gone out and told these guys that they need to step up their game. This man's just picked up the game, and he's already faster than a lot of them. So we'll see what happens.
Less than 5 minutes remaining now, Bradley, in this session, as, a little bit of oversteer there from Kart Dude in the Williams, currently in P7. We're riding on board with him at the moment as he's going to dive into the pits there. He had a bit of traffic on that lap. And Danielson only in the 120s at the moment. Half a dozen drivers in the 119s. Will we see anybody in the 118s? That is the big question in the final couple of minutes of this session. 2 drivers in the 120s, of course. V8 man all on his own there in P9. And Sam reckons that strategy will be absolute madness today. As we see Rick Oztech, we saw him getting out of the way a little bit of a moment ago there for Kart Dude. But Nemo, we're riding on board with the Williams. It's been a fairly scrappy session for the 2 Williamses, Brad, but Kart Dude up there in P7. And what can Nemo do? Currently down there in P11. Yet to set a time. What can he do? Can he crack the top 10 in the final minutes?
I believe he'd be able to do it quite easily, to be honest. He's an incredibly talented driver. It's just unfortunate that he's had moments here or there that have landed him in the wall or the gravel. So hopefully this week he's able to show his true potential and show that he is a contender for this championship.
As well, speaking of Fernando Alonso there, a very Fernando Alonso looking helmet there, Brad, if we ride on board with him. Looks very, very Nando indeed, as 11 people now watching this live stream. And don't we love you all? Don't be shy. Don't be bashful. Get your comments in on the live stream and we will give you a shout out. As Sam just working beautifully there, saying Fernando Alonso. Ah, I see what you did there. Very funny. Very funny. Ah.
It's a yoke.
GP2 yoke. GP2. Ah. As here he comes across the... I'll tell you, I've totally lost the plot there and missed Nemo's lap. Or is he starting a hot lap this time around?
He's just starting a lap. He's just
starting a lap. Look, there was a Force India off there. It might have been Rick Oztech getting out of the way as we see the drivers coming back out onto the track for a final run. And what is going on with this Haas at the moment of Crumpkin, who's he's been out there now for a few laps, but he's still yet to set a time. What is going on with that Haas, Brad?
I don't necessarily know what goes on with Kano. We had a bit of practice last night, and I've got to say, it was a bit annoying to have a driver just sit on the racing line while you're trying to start your lap. So he hasn't set a lap here, and I'm not sure why. I know we've seen him off in the gravel a few times tonight, but I mean, you've got to try and keep it on the tarmac, and obviously it's showing that he hasn't been able to do that yet.
And speaking of Haas, Bradley, a compact there going to the front row of the grid provisionally with a 119.473. And let's just recap Fubbles in P1. Boy, the strategy is going to be an absolute nightmare tonight, isn't it? The top two on soft tyres, then it's Harry having another crack at it there on the hards, and then mediums galore from 4th all the way down to Rick Oztech in 12th. But let's just recap here. We've got Fubbles in provisional pole position there, starting another hot lap, what could be his final hot lap. And then it's Compact in P2, Harry Ryan in P3, Rob Dog in P4, Wilco and the Hef there in P5 and 6. So they were the second row of the grid, but now they're down to the third row of the grid. Then it's BK. Oh, is there some contact there as the drivers look to be starting their final runs? But it's a bit of Monza action here at the moment, Brad. They're just getting a little bit mixed up with the traffic at the moment.
Unfortunately, I haven't been able to see as I was riding on board with Jono. But, yeah, it's quite surprising. This track is quite lengthy, so you wouldn't expect them to be catching up with one another while they're trying to start their laps. But, I mean, that's completely on the drivers for not allowing themselves room to start a lap. So they definitely need to manage that better throughout the season.
Here we go then. Now Cart Dude will keep flicking through these drivers. V8 Man currently in P10. As big Rob Dog Pearson says, hashtag Team RBR. And I just want to say that I love you, Rob. You know that. And it's great to have you back on the grid here. We've just got seconds remaining in this session. And look at that. Cart Dude there going on to pole position. Will ride on board there. Big Dick Johnson. And Big Dick Johnson. What a lap that was from him. He's in P1. P1 at the moment. Who else? Oh, and then it's Fubbles with a 118. Fubbles. Look at this. Let's see who else is on a hot lap at the moment. Harry Ryan, what can he do? We've seen a driver in the 118s, Brad. Can anyone beat that in the final seconds of this session?
It's going to be extremely hard to do, especially when they're on the medium tyres. But that 118 on the softs, it's a brave strategy call. We'll see how it pans out for Fubbles, but it's looking like he's got this pole position secured. So, hey, it worked out for him, and he's gotten a pole. So, congratulations to Fubbles. Trev? You there? Unless we've got an audio issue again. I'll just wrap up the qualifying with Bubbles P1, Jono P2, Part Dude P3, BK P4, the Hef in 5th, Harry Ryan in 6th, Compact 7th, Wilco down in 8th. That's a bit shocking. Both the Red Bulls, P9 and P10.
Can you hear me, Bradley?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Come in over.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hang on a second. There we go. I am back. Sorry for the blue screen of death. As Wilco says, he had a bad lap there, blocked by cars retiring. Sorry about that, Bradley. I once was lost, but now am found. As Fubbles has got the pole position. Sorry about that. I am back, folks, as the birthday boy Wilco in that stunning red helmet there to go along with the stunning Ferrari. As there we go, the final results then. It is Fubbles with his extremely sweaty palms there, bashing R2 and L2 like there's no tomorrow, taking pole position with a 1:18.966. The only driver to get into the 1:18s ahead of Big Dick Johnson. We saw it all unfold at the end of that session in second. Then it's the Williams of Kart Dude in P3, the Renault in P4, Hef in P5 there, Harry Ryan in P6, Compact in P7 for the Haas. Or the birthday boy Wilco, not happy with that back in P8 there. Rob Dog in P9, the two Red Bulls 9th and 10th. Danielson in P11. Then it was V8 man Nemo in 13th, Rick Oztech in 14th, and Sam and Crumpkin somewhere down the back there. Sam, of course, with his qualifying ban, and Crumpkin didn't set a time as we're ready to go racing here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, and we're in for an absolute cracker, Bradley, and hopefully we don't have any more audio issues tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, a bit of an audio issue caught me out. Qualifying wrapped up. Fubbles with the pole. I did not see that coming, but then again, with Jono on the mediums to be only about a 10th off, that's quite an astonishing lap. So we'll see how it plays out. Fubbles on those soft tyres, they don't last very long around here. So he may have to pit before it even gets to the rain. And boy, am I hoping for some rain, so this race gets spiced up.
Yes,
really
we love a good spicy rain. We love a good spicy race with some rain as La Lluvia. That means rain in Spanish, according to Google Translate, but that could mean something else entirely, but we will leave that there. But we are on the formation lap now, down to business here in this Spanish Grand Prix, round 3 of this championship. It was Harry, I think, was it, in round 1, taking the victory? No, it wasn't. He finished second in round 1. BK, I beg your pardon, because of that penalty, of course, wasn't it, back at Albert Park in Melbourne? Then it was DRC Jarrett absolutely taking the mickey there, winning last week in China. Just 8 rounds in this championship. And here we are at Barcelona de Catalunya as we go through the order. And Moz is saying he's already got enough spice in his butter chicken. And I'm surprised that he's probably having it with a bit of naan bread down there just to ease off the heat. Keep the milk handy as well if you've gone for the maximum spice levels. But I could go a little bit of butter chicken at the moment. He's making me hungry. But 33 lap race as we get the telemetry, the lap data up. And it's going to be interesting, Brad. We've said it a couple of times. We've got rain. We've got people on different tyre strategies. A bit of a surprising move to see some of the drivers on the soft tyres, Brad, especially if we're expecting rain. You would think that most drivers would go on the hard tyre, wouldn't you? And hopefully making it last until the rain comes later in the race.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I thought. Like, pre-qualifying, I thought, with rain coming, the 2 harder of the compounds would have been the tyres that you wanted to be on. Those guys that are on the hards, though, they may be able to run the entirety of this race right up until the rain, where the mediums may fall off just a tiny bit sooner. It depends when this rain comes in. The guys on the softs, though, yeah, Fubbles benefited by getting pole, but unfortunately for him, he's going to have to pit way earlier than these guys, and he'll probably lose out a lot of time because of that.
He certainly will, unless, of course, the soft tyres. There is enough of a difference between the pace of the soft and the hard tyres that you could get a pit stop ahead before the rain comes. But we will wait and see. As there we go, 16 drivers lined up on the grid. 33 laps ahead of them here at Catalonia. 16 corners. Round 3 of this championship. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. You know what happens next. Go, go, go here at Spain as Big Dick Johnson gets a good start off the line and Fubbles already down to P3. It's the Renault of Bailey up into second. Jono, Big Dick Johnson holds the inside line and leads into turn 1. Then it's Bailey Kennedy there. Fubbles trying to make up lost ground, but it's the Mercedes of Harry and Can't Do right up behind him. But a terrible start for Fubbles, Brad, in the opening couple of corners of this one.
A terrible start for Fubbles, but someone that had an even more terrible start is our man Wilco, who's once again been involved in an incident on the first, one of the first laps. So this isn't how he would have wanted the night to go. So that's very unfortunate for him.
He's down in 15th. We'll keep an eye on that as the race progresses. But lap 1 here out of 33 in Spain. Big hello to you, Alex Adams. He says, keep it up, boys. And go Sam Cham. Wilco saying rain in 15 minutes as Rick Oztek's retired from the session. So something's happened down there. But look at this battle. This is the sort of spice we wanted here in this race. We've got the Renault of BK on the medium tyres and Big Dick Johnson on the mediums as well. Down the order. Look at this. First, second and third all together. Can't Do it in 4th. Then it is Fubbles who's lost 4 positions on the opening lap, Brad. It couldn't go much worse for Fubbles after starting in pole position.
No, it definitely couldn't go any worse for Fubbles. I mean, luckily he can't crash out on the formation lap because he could very well have done a David Coulthard and not even started the race. Unfortunate for him, down to 5th spot, and it's not looking good as he spun.
Oh!
Something's gone.
Well, it's going from bad to worse for Fubbles. Can he gather it all up and get it together? He's right down the back of the field as we see the Red Bull of Honest Crook coming into the pit lane there. So not a good start for the Red Bull. The second Red Bull up in P8 with Rob Dog, of course. In and out of the pits again. We've lost Rick Oztek. But it's Big Dick Johnson in P1, as you can see there, just half a second ahead of Bailey in P2. Then it is Harry Ryan, 19, in P3, who's made up 3 positions on the opening lap of this race. Then it's Cart Dude, everybody's favourite Taswegian, the first of the Ferraris of Heft there in P5. Then Compact in the first of the Haas cars in P6. And the second Mercedes in P7. Then Rob Dog in P8. Who's had a good start. He's made a position up off the line. V8 man there, the second McLaren in P9. Then it's Sam, who had the qualifying ban, and he's looking pretty good there. He's made the top 10. Yellow flags in Sector 3 as Nemo. Then it's Wilco. Once again, Brad, on the comeback drive. Not good for our man Wilco. And on his birthday of all days.
Yeah, on his birthday of all days. And it's really unfortunate because in the pre-season, our practice races, he steered clear to trouble, and as soon as we start the season, trouble has just found him. The benefit of being on the medium tyres, so he should be able to run a bit longer. It's going to be another fight back, but this isn't where he would want to be, as we see Nemo run right off the track and he's out.
Nemo is out. Have I got to him too late? As we see Fubbles now getting that front wing replaced in the Toro Rosso. The man, like we said, who started on pole position, and it has gone all wrong for him. And I've got to say, I agree with you, Mozza. This battle at the front could get spicier than his butter chicken, as we've lost Nemo and Rick Oztek as the Toro Rosso comes out behind the Red Bull of Honest Crook, as Crumpkin also in the pits. I'm not sure what happened to him, but Crumpkin there down the back doing what Crumpkin does. As we stick right back to the front and have a look just how spicy this is getting, Brad. This is just like Mozza's buttered chicken at the moment. We're going to need some milk because it's going to get really spicy here.
We're definitely going to be in some need of milk after this battle's over and done with. All these guys are quite close, you know, within the 3-second range, as we have the top six within 5 seconds. So anything's possible, and if this battling keeps on going until the rain hits, oh boy, are we in for something. As BK goes down the inside, now on the outside, Jono's back in. Oh, they've desynced at the moment. There they are, they've popped back up, and Jono maintains the lead.
Oh, look at that. He tried to go on the inside, then said, I'll try the outside then as well. But he's under all sorts of pressure. Unbelievable stuff as Crumpkin gets one of his many corner-cutting penalties there. But look how close this is as we ride on board with the Renault of BK now. Lap 4 out of 33. Rain in 15 minutes. That's right, rain in 15 minutes as he's a bit too far back here. We've got DRS enabled, of course. Just 19% battery, DRS, ERS all being used up here. But it was so close. I reckon he'll be lining him up on the main straight the next time around. But all sorts of pressure. You don't know what pressure is, Brad, until you're in Big Dick Johnson's shoes at the moment.
Yeah, it's always easier to be the chaser than the leader. It is so difficult to lead a race. It's always easier to be the guy chasing the leader. So Jono on the straight may be packing himself with these guys chasing him. But I will say, BK trying to go at Jono has brung Harry Ryan back into this. So your best opportunity to pass is at this first corner here. There's not very many overtaking spots on this track that you can get past. So majority of the overtakes you'll see are definitely down into turn 1.
Yes, they certainly are. And you mentioned Harry Ryan right in the mix of things here at the moment. Like you said, first and second, Big Dick Johnson and Bailey Kennedy having a big ding-dong battle up there for first and second at the moment. But we see the drivers dropping further down the order then. Cart Dude has lost a position off the start, but he's currently in P4. Then it's Hef. Once again, Brad, the lead Ferrari, the same as what he was last week. Then Danielson, who is sitting in P6 at the moment. Rob Dog, who only got this game a week or so ago, looking very nice there in P7, made up 2 places off the line. Then it's Dane, not too far behind him. Wilco on the comeback drive yet again. Then it's Sam in the Alfa Romeo. And then it's Compact outside of the points as Nemo's left the session at the moment. Fubbles way back in P12. A little bit surprising that Fubbles didn't put on the hard tyres, but I guess the mediums will last until that scheduled rain is due to hit here further on in the race. Honest Crook and Crumpkin further down the order. That is your top 14. That's all of them. But, well, BK's in the lead now. Incredible stuff.
BK just, deployed his ERS on that front straight and was able to get past Jono with the greatest of ease there. But this isn't over between these top 4 as they're so tight. Anything can happen in racing, and I'm sure we're going to see anything happen today.
It sure is, as Nemo's left us. Moz saying see you next week, but look how close this is. We've got first, second, third and fourth all in your picture. We do apologise. We did miss that move on the live stream, of course, as we were scrolling through the rest of the field. But they are so close right back there, as you can see from this beautiful camera angle. Harry there in P3 and Cart Dude as well. And just have a look at how close that Mercedes is, Brad, to Big Dick Johnson. But, boy, this is pressure galore with the top 4 all within a second of each other. Absolutely incredible. There's a yellow flag in Sector 3. I'm not too sure what that's all about, but we're going to stick with this battle. Lap 6 out of 33 at the moment. The top 4 all on medium tyres, except for Harry Ryan, of course, who's on the soft tyres as BK comes across the line, setting the fastest lap. Now, Cardew, this is very close. Look at this, and now Big Dick Johnson is back into the lead. A bit of a DRS ding-dong down the main straight there, but Big Dick Johnson's back in the lead of this race, Brad. Exciting stuff.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. Like I said, the overtakes will be happening at turn 1, and that's exactly what we're seeing, as Jono and BK have gone back and forth over the last few laps. The interesting thing is, these tyres will be degrading, but these guys have to stay on these tyres until the rain comes out. You don't want to be that driver that gets caught out by the rain and makes a pit stop earlier than they need to. So these guys, I'm sure, will be sticking on these tyres until this rain arrives.
They certainly will be doing their level best to stay on these tyres, as Big Dick Johnson coming up to some traffic there. Guess who, Brad? It's Crumpkin down there in P14. Already picked up a couple of penalties. And he is 33 seconds off the lead, or the driver in front, I should say, at the moment. But here we go, as Mozza then saying, this TV director needs the sack. Not sure whether we can do that, Mozza, as you're getting tucked into your butter chicken, because, of course, Brad, if I get the sack, then that means we're down a TV director and a commentator as well, and that's no good for anybody's business, as Crumpkin there getting well out of the way. And Hef not too far behind this battle as well, so it could be a five-way battle for the lead as BK, side by side, he says, move over Big Dick Johnson. I'm coming through, as he tries to stick it around the outside at the moment, but he's right up close behind him. And which way are they going to go? We don't want to see a Rosberg-Hamilton incident from 2016, but is he through? Oh my goodness, this is so close. Down the inside, and he's got the lead, Brad. Incredible stuff. They're going at it hammer and tongs.
Absolutely incredible racing displayed by these two. This is what league racing should be. These two are going side by side on parts of the track you wouldn't even imagine going side by side.
Unbelievable stuff here, as you can see there. That graphic of Harry Ryan, it's saying he's on the soft tyres. It's not counting how many laps he's done on those tyres.
He's on the medium tyres. Medium tyres in 7 laps.
Medium tyres for Harry, so that is not correct on my screen, but BK, so it's Renault in P1, Big Dick Johnson in P2, Harry Ryan, the man we're riding on board with, in P3, then Cart Dude in P4, but we might stick with this battle for the lead at the moment. There we go, Crumpkin, and we might just go the other way, I think, because I reckon we're expecting another pass here. Look at this. Big Dick Johnson looking to take revenge here. Bradley down the inside. Can he make the move stick? Yes, he can, and boy, he just putting some manners on BK there, Bradley. He just came back in front of him and said, I've had enough of this. You're not getting through again. And what a move up to P1 at the moment. Lap 9 out of 33 in this race. Rain is well and truly on the way here. I can assure you that rain is coming, and those clouds are looking very grey and very dark, Brad.
Yeah, they're looking very ominous, and it's changed at the drop of a dime so quickly. So, rain could be coming really quickly, and hey, I'm enjoying that, because that's going to completely switch this race up. Because they're racing on a dry track at the moment. As soon as it gets wet, everything they would have learned goes out the window.
All of that data, all of that history that they learn in qualifying and in the early part of this race on a dry circuit, like you said, Brad, will go out the window. It is a tyre glitch there for DRC Jared. He's not quite taking the piss like you did last week, but great to have your company nevertheless. But here we go, lap 9 out of 33 then, as BK is a little bit further back on this lap, but he will have the battery, of course, the ERS and the DRS as well, up to 320 kilometres. Is he going to make a move? No. He's a little bit too far back there, but Cart Dude, oh my goodness gracious me, I've missed this, Brad. Oh, it's close. How close is it up the front? This is amazing. Cart Dude slipped ahead of Harry there, and he's got up to P3. Like I said, we missed that, Brad, but still plenty of spice in this one. The top 4 still hammer and tongs as Jono. Big Dick Johnson stays in the lead, locks the brake. That opens the door for the Renault now, but he still can't get through. Action galore at the moment, Bradley, 10 laps into this one.
Yeah, action galore at the front, and it's actually great to see that we've got a battle pack of 4 cars at the front. We don't usually get to see this. At Australia, I believe it was only a 2-car race between Harry Ryan and BK. And in China, DRC Jared just absolutely took the piss. But here, we've got 4 guys fighting it out. We see in the background that Hef is closing in on a bit of ground too. So if these guys continue to squabble, Hef's going to crawl his way back up into this fight and say, nah, this isn't over.
He's almost going to get on the back of the DRS train, I reckon, as we ride. We're going the opposite way now. Harry lining up this man for a pass, as we might just go ahead to the lead there. Oh, look at this. Crumpkin coming out of the pits. He's got to stay well and truly out of the way there as BK gets back up into the lead. And unless my eyes deceive me, Bradley, they look like raindrops on my camera lens where I'm sitting.
Yes, there is raindrops. I just had to switch to the T-cam to actually spot it, but there are drops in the air, and this is about to get really spicy.
Ooh.
It's all about who's going to be able to predict when the switchover is, and whoever jumps on that the best will benefit the most.
No doubt about that, as Big Dick Johnson has a 3-second time warning, and that rain is coming. Oh, it's starting to piss down, I reckon. Raindrops keep falling on the track. These drivers are gonna have to stop for wets real soon. And if you like my singing, you'll want to stick around for the last 22 laps of this race. 1/3 of the race gone. 1/3 still to go, Brad, as BK is pulling out ahead of this pack at the moment. But you can see the drivers. What's it like in these conditions going from dry to wet as BK sets a quick lap? So when is that changeover period going to come, Bradley? When are these drivers going to say, right, that's it, I've had enough, I'm coming in for wet tyres?
I believe it's going to be quite soon, as we're seeing that BK is able to, control his car a little bit better. This is an assist lead, so him running assist, he's going to have the benefit of medium traction. So the guys that aren't necessarily running assist, you're going to know that they're struggling more than the guys that are. So you can see that BK's pulled out a 1.2 second gap. So it's going to be coming close to when you need to put on those intermediate tyres, and then maybe even full wets.
As we take a look now, it's not just that spicy battle for the top 4 and 5 positions, I should say, as Wilco. We've got Rob Dog there in P7 in the Red Bull, his first race on this game. Then it's Wilco in P8. The man who I'm sorry to say, the birthday boy, is back on the comeback drive yet again, 3rd week in a row, Bradley. And then it's V8 man further behind him. But this is a personal battle here, Brad, as we see these two go at it. They're good mates off the track, but no love lost in this situation.
Definitely not. I believe this dates back to their P-car days, so this is really interesting to see that it's followed through onto the F1 game. This hasn't been easy for Wilco at all. I've seen him slip up and down positions while fighting Rob Dog and Dano, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top in this mid-pack battle at the moment. But like we said, it's another comeback drive for Wilco, and hopefully by the end of this race he'll be able to get that Ferrari a few more spots up, and the Tifosi will go wild for him.
And I'm sorry to say, but I reckon we've missed this. Big Dick Johnson has made a mistake and he's down to P4 at the moment. What happened there? Maybe this rain just starting to catch the drivers out. As Mozza says, you boys should make an album. We can do that, Brad, and we might sign a copy and send it straight to you, Mozza, my good man. But lap 13 out of 33, you can see it's starting to get a little bit wet out there at the moment. When will these drivers need to come into the pits for wet tyres? But you can see there, Big Dick Johnson, Brad, not having a good lap so far, down to P4. So he must have made a mistake there in the final part of that lap, because the top 3 are passed and through.
Yeah, very unfortunate for him. It could also just generally be from general wear. As he's having a moment.
He's around. He's around, and that is going to be disastrous. He might gather it all up as there's a Haas off. But it's just Crumpkin, I think, or is it Compact? I'm not too sure. I didn't get to see the helmet. But Big Dick Johnson, an absolute disaster. On a scale of 1 to Fubbles, Brad, it's gone absolutely terribly for this man, but he still can recover as he's come out a few seconds ahead. They're all going off. They're all going off at the moment. And I reckon that time's going to be soon, I reckon, to change over to the tyres. And here we go. Wilco is into the pits, the first to change onto the wet tyres, Brad.
Yeah, changing onto the intermediates as we see right now. And I believe he may have just made the right call, as we've seen the drivers struggling around that last corner. So if this pans out for Wilco, don't be surprised to see him up in the top end of the points.
Here we go, the first man onto the intermediate tyres. Could he do a Daniel Kvyat from the German Grand Prix? And Lance Stroll, of course, who went onto the intermediates at just the right time. As Fubbles there still going along in P11. That's incredible, isn't it? Fubbles, the man who took pole position, currently outside of the points. Who would have thought? 14 laps into this race. But Compact in the Haas there. And then Honest Crook down in 13th, running his own race, along with Crumpkin there, 3 laps down at the moment. But we're right on board now with our leader, BK, in the Renault. And let's just see what his times are at the moment. A 125.1 on that last lap, Brad. So they're not losing too much time at the moment. So it really is about who can be brave enough to stay out there on these tyres, as no one brave enough to make a move in these changeable conditions, because you never know, if you just put a foot wrong, you could be into the barriers with the rain coming down.
Yeah, that is very true. I'm on board with Wilco, who did stick on the intermediates. I believe he may have done it a lap or so early, as he's just losing amounts of time to the people in front of him. So he may be a bit dirty on himself again, but I mean, that's something that he had to do, considering the race hasn't gone his way. So hopefully in a few laps' time, these intermediates will warm up to temperature and the track will get a lot more wetter. But yeah, as I'm on board with him, he's now dropped back to 50 seconds behind the leader, and he's lost a fair amount of seconds there.
So Wilco there, like you said, the first man to be brave enough to go onto the intermediate tyres in this race. You can visually see him just riding on board with him at the moment. And what's happening there, he's let Fubbles through, so he is struggling, and Wilco's retired from the session. So that's very strange. He retired. We were riding on board with him. So whether he's just retired, Brad, I didn't see any incident there, unless you saw something that I didn't. But he has retired from the session. So, interesting. So as Crumpkin goes off again, and bad timing for our man Alan Shep, who's just joined us as Wilco's retired from this session, and we missed a move there. We've seen Can't Dude and Harry exchange positions. P2 now for Harry, Can't Dude down to P3. As a big happy birthday, it is Shep's birthday as well. Who says, happy birthday, Wilco. Down here tonight at Sinbad's, Bar 11 in Linton Place in Scoresby, Victoria. 3179. Is it Camilla or Camille? Said to say hello. And Shep, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Shep. Yeah, we love you, Shep. Big happy birthday to you, and Wilco as well, who's not really a glass half full man tonight, saying he pitted too early for the inters, and yeah, no good. And that yeah, no good suggests that he's just plain retired from this race, Brad. So not a good start to the season for our man Wilco.
Definitely not, but I feel bad for him, because everything was going his way in the lead up to the season starting. And once the season started, he's just found himself in trouble. And majority of the time, it's not like his own fault. Like, someone has made a bit of contact with him here or there. In China, he got one of Donga's famous dive bombs, not only once but twice in the race. Yeah, unfortunate here that, yeah, he made the call to switch onto inters, and it just wasn't the right time. Hopefully, you know, he'll receive a call later on saying that he's won 150 million, and hopefully that'll brighten up his day.
Yep, that would be a good call to get as Big Shep. Happy birthday to Shep. Happy birthday to Shep. Happy birthday, dear Shep. Happy birthday to you. Hip, hip, hooray!
Hooray.
Hip, hip, hooray!
Hooray.
Hip, hip, hooray!
Hooray.
Big happy birthday, Alan Shep. We love you, big man.
Virtual
You are
safety car.
Oh my goodness! Stick to the bloody race, kid buyers, as we've got a virtual safety car. What on earth could that be for? Yes, big, well, this is big. This is breaking news, because you could get a free pit stop out of this, Brad, if you are near the pit lane at the moment. Big Dick Johnson and Compact also wanted the intermediate tyres, but I wonder why the virtual safety car has been deployed here.
I don't actually know why it was deployed. I just seen that it popped up and seen that everyone was going slow. As the DRS is enabled, which is quite surprising, as we see everyone's jumping into the pits at the moment, so it might be time for the inters.
Might be time for the intermediate tyres, as I put the headphones back onto my head, as Crumpkin is disqualified from the session. Moz is saying his super licence needs examining, as we see the Mercedes into the pit lane. Off come the dry tyres, on go the intermediate tyres, so they're all into the pits at the moment. except for Hef, who, this is interesting. He's decided to stay out now, and that is very interesting, actually, because the rain is getting heavier. I've got to say, Brad, I reckon this is intermediate territory. But V8 man, so this is mixing up the order, and this is what we wanted to see, isn't it? We wanted to see this very spicy stuff. We knew the rain was coming, and we can see drivers. You know it's going to be a good race when you've got drivers on all 4 compounds of tyre, the softs, the mediums, the inters, the hards. No one on full wets as yet, but you know you're in for a good race when you see this stuff happening.
You definitely are, and Dang's done a quite incredible drive here. He's still on the hard tyres, and he's done 17 laps. It's exactly the same as Hef in the lead. I believe Hef should have ducked into the pits with these guys, because he was right in that battle, and he may actually lose out here to the guys that have gone onto the intermediate tyres. So it's unfortunate for Hef. You know, Ferrari will probably talk to him about next week and what they can improve in the strategy for.
No doubt about that. As Moz is saying, BK getting a penalty for speeding in the pits, so that could come into play later on in this race. As Hef, here we go, he's coming to the pits now. So Hef, make sure you get that speed down to, what is it, 80 kilometres an hour into the pits, or 60 kilometres, 80 kilometres, I beg your pardon, as the Ferrari crew come out into the pits. And what tyres are they going to put on? Oh my goodness me, they're going with the hard tyres on my screen. Whether that's a glitch or not, I don't think it is, Brad. He's on the hard tyres, and the rain's still not easing off here. In the meantime, V8 man still on those hard tyres, like you mentioned, goes into the lead. BK, who's now got that penalty for speeding in the pit lane, not far behind him. And Sam as well, 18 laps into this race, has yet to make a pit stop for intermediate tyres.
Yeah, they've gone a long way, to be honest. They must feel like that it's still not wet enough to put on the intermediates, but yeah, Ferrari, what are you doing? They've just completely sucked Hef out of the race here. They're putting on the hard tyres, and I believe Hef's going to be quite filthy with that, because he would have wanted to change to the intermediates.
Oh, V8 man! V8 man, sorry to cut in there, Brad, but V8 man has gone off on those hard tyres, so that has not worked for him. And, well, boy, a little bit of rain, and as he's off again, but a little bit of rain, and boy, does it spice things up here. Lap 19 out of 33. Let's just recap this crazy, crazy Spanish Grand Prix. A big hola to everybody watching tonight. A big hola here in the Catalonian countryside, as it's BK, and look how careful the drivers have got to tread, Brad. You've raced plenty around here, and Rob Dog's retired from the session. I thought it was a bit of an interesting strategy call there. Rob Dog going on the soft tyres, despite the fact that it was raining. And Sam, look at this, Sam Cham, or he looks to be having some internet issues there. That little internet bar is on his name there, as you can see on your screen. But don't tell me we've lost Sam. He's gone 19 laps on those hard tyres. The only one in the top 4 currently still on the dry tyres, Brad. So if he can hang in there and make a move, or he has made a move there on Harry, so he's up into second, but Harry all over the back of him at the moment. Cart Dude still down there in 4th. Let's just recap, like I said, Hef up in 5th. Danielson in 6th. V8 man now into the pits after going off a moment ago. And back out on to the track as Big Shep says, Camille, tell me, let me know, Shep, if I'm saying that right. He said he owes you a drink from Sinbad's Bar, 11 Linton Place in Scoresby Village, Victoria, 3179. Big hello to everybody down there at Sinbad's Bar. I was going to call you guys tonight, and I didn't end up doing it. But anyway, I thought that would have been a very, very funny joke. As Honest Crook in the Red Bull there in P8, and V8 man has compacts off as well. So these drivers struggling to get used to these conditions. You said, Brad, everything they learned in qualifying, everything they learnt in the opening part of this race has gone out the window. And now it's just about where you can find the grip. You need to find the grip on the wet track. It's very challenging for these drivers in the closing few laps of this one.
It definitely is. And something that I'd like to point out is that we've got half the field on the dry tyres. So maybe they've received a radio call saying that it's going to dry up in a number of laps, and they're just tempting fate and staying out on the dry tyres. Because we have majority of our field, on the dry compound still, while the other half are on the intermediates. And I gotta say, in the beginning it didn't look like they were pulling out too much time on them, but on this recent lap that I've been on board with Hef, he's definitely lost a bit of time, so maybe the switchover point might be right now.
I reckon it's very, very close. In fact, like you said, Bradley, right now on lap 21 out of 33 of this race, 12 people watching this stream, the round 3 of the Supreme Racing League Championship. It is great to have your company. Don't forget, each and every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Time, streaming onto the Kid Buyers channel, of course, on behalf of SRL. And that looked like a Toro Rosso off. I think Fubbles is off the track down there in P12. He's got a 10-second time penalty, Brad, for exceeding track limits, but it's been a disastrous race for the man who was in pole position. And Wilco saying there is a glitch that some guys have had in their career mode where the track takes forever to get wet. And when it takes a long time to get wet, Brad, it's never a good thing.
No, it's definitely not. And that's quite unfortunate if that's happened to some guys. The track's just not getting as wet as it should be, while others are actually getting it how wet it appears. Unfortunate for Bubbles, from hero to zero in the space of a race. But, there's always next week, and, he's still got a point at the moment, so, a point for Toro Rosso. Who's going to argue with that?
As Wilco there commenting, good stuff, Wilco. Shame to not have you in this race. And speaking who's not in the race, I should say, 16 drivers started this race. 5 have retired. We've lost Rob Dog, Wilco, Nemo, Rick Oztech and Crumpkin, who was cutting more corners than a budget Asian airline there down in P16. So we've lost 5 drivers. We've still got 11 running. And these are the races, Brad, where you can sneak a cheeky point or two if you're further down the field. These changeable conditions, these crazy races, are always an opportunity to sneak the odd point here or there if you're down the order.
It definitely is, and I would just like to point out that it is the switch over time right now. As it popped up, DRS is disabled. So this is the time where they shouldn't all jump on the intermediate tyres. For those guys that already did, definitely benefited from it, as Hef's just lost a whole bunch of time going onto those hard tyres at the second pit stop. He was 7 seconds behind, and he's lost a further 7 seconds. So, unfortunate for Ferrari. That's a few points that are going to go begging now that he's got to make another pit stop.
As we see the McLaren not having quite the week they had last week, as they're down in P7 with V8 man, of course, and P9 for Big Dick Johnson, who's into the pits now for intermediate tyres. So everybody still running on the intermediate tyres, all bar Hef, who is now on intermediate tyres, and V8 man still on the mediums. And I've got to say, Dane, I don't think it's getting any drier, son. I don't think that rain's going to stop in a moment. But is he playing a clever strategy ploy here, Bradley, and waiting to the wets instead of the inters? Is he just going to change straight from the mediums to the wet tyres?
I don't think it's necessarily wet enough for the wet tyres, as these guys aren't necessarily struggling on the intermediates. But, it could be bold, but then again, you never really know. As I believe he should just be, chucking on the intermediate tyres. He's got to serve a 5-second stop-go penalty for a corner cut. Unfortunate for both McLarens. They were just called out on the conditions and both slipped down the field, as we've got Jimbo just retiring, compact. So it guarantees that anyone that finishes the race now will have a point.
There we go. So all the drivers still running down from BK in the Renault up in P1 at the moment with 10 laps to go. Make that 9 laps left in this race. Are still going... everybody's going to get a point, like you said, Brad, and I think the Haas of Compact may have had an incident there, and the reason for his retirement from this race is Wilco up and about on the comments section saying, I got taken out on lap 1, decided to take the early pit stop to let the guys in my party know if inters were good. And they were horrible, not working for our man Wilco. And then he says, when I left was heavy rain. It was heavy rain in 15 minutes, so probably about to pour down, or as we say in Australia, it could piss down. That is the technical term. As Alex Adams saying, damn, this seems to have been the race. I could have got a point in, Alex. You are damn right. Everybody running from 1st to 10th. 16 started, 10 drivers left. You could have got a point for the man from Parramatta there. The teacher, Alex Adams, who's a top bloke as well. As Robbie wants an invite, he says, invite old mate Rob Dog to the party. We better keep it family friendly, but I'm not sure whether I can invite you at the moment, Rob Dog, but we would love to have you in the party. Lap 24 out of 33 in this race. And I've got to ask you that inevitable question, Bradley, with 9 laps remaining. Can anybody challenge the Renault of Bailey in P1 for the win?
At the moment, it's not really looking like anyone is going to be able to challenge BK. He's driven quite a smart race, and he's putting time out on Harry. As I would like to point out that we are starting to see rooster tails, as Crofty would like to say. Or is it Crofty or Martin Brundle that like to say we're seeing rooster tails at the end of the cars? So we could be heading for some wet tyres at the end of the race, but we have, not so many laps left, so these guys may just get away with it into tyres.
There we go, as Alex saying such kind words, Trev Loveheart. I love you too, Alex, my good teacher mate from Parramatta up there in Sydney. Everyone from Sydney and New South Wales seems to be from Parramatta to me, but I am a Victorian and know little about your state. But it's good to have your company with us. You're not from Parramatta, that's right. And I'm not going to talk about the footy codes, but lap 25 out of 33 in this race. And let's just recap at the moment. And I'm pretty sure you got it spot on, Brad. I think it's David Croft who says you can just see the rooster tails coming off the back of the cars, as it's usually Martin just chimes in, doesn't he, and says you've got to tread so carefully in these conditions, Crofty. You've got to drive like there's an egg under the accelerator pedal. It's so dangerous, as we see BK negotiating those final couple of corners. If you like that impression, let me know. If not, I'll never do it again. No, we're all having good fun, aren't we? Lap 26 out of 33 is Cartdude now. He's been a little bit of a naughty boy with a 3-second time penalty there. I don't think that's going to affect him though, Brad, because he's a long way ahead of Sam Cham in P4.
Yeah, he definitely is a long way ahead, enough that he can actually make a pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see whether he's putting on another set of intermediate tyres or whether he's going to the full wets. It's another set of intermediate tyres, so maybe those tyres wore out really quickly for him, but that's a strange pit stop.
Very strange. I was about to say he could be going for the fastest lap, but of course that's impossible given that we started in dry conditions and now finishing in the wet. I don't think we're going to get a public holiday in Taswegialand. In Tasmania, I should say, if unless a miracle can occur here for Cartdude. But will he be in the party this week? Although he's, like you said, Brad, it was really an unnecessary pit stop because it's put him back into the clutches of the Alfa Romeo of Sam, and not only Sam but Hef as well. Very strange pit stop there, unless, like you said, he just simply ran out of tyres.
Yeah, very strange pit stop. I don't quite understand it. I mean, if he's on the podium, he'll probably explain his reason behind it. But, geez, these camera angles that they're giving us, it's absolutely coming down. It's Sam Cham spun in the background.
And Sam has gone off, and that's going to put him back down behind Hef. He was only a couple of seconds ahead of Hef there, and you can see there's a Toro Rosso there in the background, or is it a Mercedes? He's got Danielson right on his tail, but I'm not too sure what happened there, Brad. But these conditions catching people out yet again. And Sam, who's had a qualifying ban, he started on the hard tyres, and I think he ran 18 or 19 laps on those tyres. But are we going to see full wets here in the final half dozen or so laps of this race? Because you can see, look how much they're struggling at the moment. And is it going to take one of the drivers lower down the order to have a bit of a gamble, Brad, and see if they can work? But at the moment, it is positively pissing down here.
Yeah, it's coming down really hard. And we just saw that Harry Ryan pitted for intermediates as well. So maybe they just want a fresh set of tyres for the heavier rain, and they're just holding off on the full wets as there's not really very many laps to go. But it'll be interesting to see whether BK, our leader, Bailey Kennedy, will hit this lap. I mean, he's got a pit stop advantage of a lead here, so it takes about 20 seconds for a pit stop. So, I mean, if he decides to pit here, he should come out quite comfortable in front. And but he's continued it going on, so I believe that Bailey may just run this out right up until the end of the race.
Well, I wouldn't blame him, as BK Bailey there, 26.5 seconds out in the lead. And unless something very drastic happens, Brad, I reckon he's going to keep that lead with just 5 laps remaining, lap 28 of this race. A very eventful race here tonight at Spain. As Kane says, looks like BK might win this. And at the moment, Kane, I've got to agree with you, son. And Robbie saying, coming down harder than Charlie Sheen from a coke bender. Oh boy, that's some of your best work, Rob Dog. That's very funny indeed, isn't it? Yes, good old Charlie Sheen there. As lap 28 out of 33. That's put me off, Rob. Fantastic stuff. I love it. Keep the jokes, keep the comments coming in. Round 3 of the Supreme Racing League Championship. And there's only one question remaining in this race, and that is, can BK in the Renault hold on to this lead and win this race? The number 14 there in the Renault, Bailey Kennedy, the man formerly known as Trickshot. He's had a pretty good race. He pitted at the right time. He's done 10 laps on those intermediate tyres, and he's really not put a foot wrong, has he, Brad, in terms of strategy in this race? And he is looking good to take victory here tonight with just a handful of laps left. As we flick through the order, the field fairly spread out. It was close. We saw that 4-5-way battle early on in the race. Now it's just calmed down a bit since the rain has come down. And P2 there for Harry Ryan. Can't do slotting into P3. He's got a couple of penalties, so we'll see where that leaves him after this race. And Hef, once again, he'll be looking for number 1 driver status at Ferrari. Brad, he's up into P4. Then Sam, who we saw have a moment and go off the track a moment ago. And then it's Danielson. So good points for Mercedes, I beg your pardon, in 2nd and 6th. Then it's Honest Crook. And then it's the McLarens in 8th and 9th. And, nearly a moment there for Big Dick Johnson. And it's Big Dick Johnson and Fubbles a lap down. But you've got to say, I was about to say, who's your driver of the day, Brad? But we've seen so much in this race. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as Fubbles has pulled over, I think, to let somebody through. I'm not too sure what's happening there. But who is your driver of the day, Brad, in the closing laps of this race?
It's really tough to decide because, I mean, you can go for the obvious, and you've got to say that was Bailey Kennedy today. He's just driven the race perfectly. And you could also say that it's any one of these guys. Sam Cham started from the back of the grid, and look at him in P5. I mean, you could also say the Hef. He's had another great showing here. So, I mean, I think I'll leave this one up to the chat. I'd say the 3 guys to consider are definitely Bailey Kennedy, the Hef, and Sam Cham for driver of the day. I don't think I could split them, to be honest.
No, there we go. As Alex, everybody getting their comments in. Alex saying Sam, driver of the day. 15th to 5th, not a bad suggestion. I like it. Keep your comments coming in. Robbie Pearson, Rob Dog saying, or our man Wilco, technically losing out to our man Rob again. I just want to say that there is plenty of love there for you guys, and I'll just leave that one up to you. But very competitive, those two. And I reckon Wilco's had an early night off to go and join Big Man, his Big Man, his mate Wilco down there at Sinbad's in Scoresby, Victoria. And I know you're watching, Wilco. Happy birthday to both you and Wilco. But lap 30 out of 33. And, well, let's just have a look at through the field once again, as it's looking like BK is going to storm home to victory here. Harry in 2nd. And, well, there's not too much of a gap, is there, between Harry and Cart Dude? And then it's 12 seconds further back for the Hef. But Sam not too far behind Hef either. So Well, there's 3 laps to go, and like we say, Brad, anything can happen. This race is not over yet for some of these minor placings.
No, definitely not. Anything can happen. As I stated earlier that it was coming down, but now it's absolutely teeming down with rain. So, hopefully, I mean, I'm sure these tyres will last to the end. I don't think anyone will jump onto the full wets just to do 3 laps. I would like to point out how consistent Harry Ryan has been. In all 3 races, he's finished in 2nd place. Hopefully a penalty won't catch him out this time, but he could very well have had a victory in Australia if it wasn't for a penalty. So, I mean, he's definitely in contention for this championship this year, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens with, in these last 2 laps, whether there's a little mistake here or there, but, I mean, it's looking pretty set in stone that our top 3 are going to be BK, Harry, and Cart Dude.
So BK, of course, winning in round 1 after that penalty to the man you mentioned there, Brad, Harry, of course. And then BK missing out last week, and now he's on course to win this race. And I've got to agree with you, it is absolutely positively pissing down in the final couple of laps of this one. But Harry, Mr. Consistency, he did cross the line in P1 in Australia in round 1, but because of a penalty, he went down to 2nd. But he finished 2nd in round 1, he finished 2nd in round 2, and he's looking on course to finish 2nd here again. So Mr. Consistency, our man Harry Ryan, 19 in the Mercedes. But quick mention to the fastest lap, of course, a 122.786 for BK, so he's nearly doing the Grand Slam. Not quite the Grand Slam, is it, because Fubble's got pole position, but he will collect that point as well, Brad, for the fastest lap. And, of course, he's been unchallenged with that fastest lap because the conditions got very moist halfway through the race.
Yeah, very lucky, I'd say, to get the point. Usually there's 1 or 2 people that like to make that last pit stop just to get that single point, because it just means so much to that driver to have the fastest lap of the race. As we saw last week with DRC Jared just taking the piss and having a pit stop with 2 laps to go and setting the fastest lap. So, I mean, it's important to these drivers just to get that one singular point, because you never know, a championship could quite potentially come down to that one single point.
It's all about the points as we're on the penultimate lap of this race, and it's that man on your screen who will be taking a full amount of points from this weekend's race, which is not actually on a weekend, it's Thursday night, but it makes me feel like I'm a real-life F1 commentator, as he's going to get 25 points for the win, 1 point for fastest lap of this race, because like we said, with the rain coming down heavier and heavier, he cannot be beaten for that fastest lap. He's currently 22 seconds in the lead here, and barring any absolute disasters, he will win this race. As Rob Dog says, I've got a dead chicken for sale, not going cheap. Like your work there, and Wilco saying Robbie didn't understand multi-21. Multi-21, Rob. Yeah, multi-21. As Robbie and Wilco having some classic banter, the likes of which we haven't seen apart from the group chat, Brad, which you, of course, are a part of as well. But lap 32 out of 33, and this is the man on your screen who has only got 1 lap to go. And 4 and a bit kilometres, Brad, between him and the race victory here at Spain, and his 2nd of this season.
Yeah, his 2nd win of the season, and it's definitely shown that he is a strong contender, just like Harry in this championship, and even DRC Jared. So it'll be interesting once we get all 3 of these guys back into a race again to see like how it'll all pan out. I mean, Jared did take the piss last week, but that may not always be the case. So, yeah, Bailey Kennedy coming around for his 2nd win of the season, and it's looking good for him. And I must say, it feels good to have a Renault finally back up on the top steps. This is what everyone wanted to happen when Daniel Ricciardo said that he was going to Renault. But unfortunately it hasn't, but it's just good to see on the game that Renault back up onto the top spot.
Yes, very nostalgic, of course. Who could forget Fernando Alonso? Spanish, we're in Spain, we've got a Spanish theme happening, and he back in the glory days of Renault. Well, it's BK, Bailey Kennedy, looking to get those glory days back, as he's only got a few more corners to negotiate A few more corners between him and the checkered flag, as Harry now has received a 3-second time penalty, but that could be cancelled out by the fact that Kart Dude also has a 3-second penalty. But here he comes. Let's bring this man home. He took victory in Australia. He didn't race last week in China. And now he's going to take victory here in round 3 here in Spain. Around the last corner. Out of the last corner. Onto the straight. It is Bailey Kennedy winning this race here tonight in Spain. And what a performance he has put on. You can see how trying and how testing these conditions have been here tonight. The rain absolutely pissing down at the moment, but it was Bailey taking the piss this week, as Harry, just trying to keep all 4 wheels pointing in the right direction, crosses the line to finish in P2. And Kart Dude, it's going to happen, Brad. We're going to have you and Kart Dude in the same party chat as he comes across the line. A good performance from him, and he finishes 3rd for Williams. And don't forget about this man as well, Hef. He lost his teammate earlier in the race. He might just be the lead Ferrari driver, you'd have to say. I know Wilco's watching. He won't be too happy with that. But Sam, the man who is Alex's driver of the day, 15th to P5. Not a bad result for him as the second Mercedes. Look at that. And look at, geez, you don't want to go off the racing line. Look at the water there. He finishes in P6. Honest Crook finishing in P7. And I think he is the last driver on the lead lap, Brad. But what a race tonight. What an eventful race, and what a great win for not only Renault, but for Bailey as well.
Yeah, definitely a great win for him. And especially with no teammate this week, it was just a great drive overall, and he's bagged himself some nice points for himself, but also the constructors. So hopefully we'll have Donga back next week, and these guys can add some more points to the constructors.
And here they come, the drivers out onto the podium. It is that man, Bailey Kennedy, in P1 ahead of Harry Ryan in P2. Look at him. He's a happy boy. Renault back to their glory days. And Kart Dude in P3 as the champagne comes out. You can see there 3 Aussies, 1, 2 and 3 on the podium. It is Renault in P1, Mercedes in P2 ahead of Williams in P3. As they spray the champagne, it is BK reigning supreme. See what I did there, Brad? Reigning supreme here in Spain. He's the king of Spain tonight as we take a look at the final results on your screen. And pretty much every driver getting a time penalty there as we recap. It is BK taking the win ahead of Mr. Consistency, Harry Ryan in P2. Then Kart Dude in P3 for Williams. First time we've seen Williams that far up in any form of motorsport for a while. Ferrari in P4. And then Sam from 15th to 5th on the grid on the final race results there. Top 5 finish for him. Danielson in P6. Honest Crook in P7. The 2 McLarens, Liner Stern there, P8 and P9. Not as good as last week, but still points for them. And then Fubbles, the man who started in P1. He's added a 0 to that and made it a 10. But he still picks up a point. We lost Compact, Rob Dog, Wilco, Nemo, Rick Oztech and Crumpkin from this race. But it was BK winning this race tonight as we wait for all 3 drivers to come in to the post-race podium interviews. Don't forget to get your questions in as Rob still wants to enter the party. I won't say that one, but Sam, 15th to 5th, not bad at all. BK saying not too shabby. And Rob and Wilco up and about still on the chat. Plenty of banter there as Sam says lag cost me a front wing end plate. And good God, fellas, says BK, as I might get you to invite these guys to the post-race party. And as my co-commentator is all over that like a cheap suit, what a race we saw tonight in changeable conditions here at the Circuit de Catalunya, the Barcelona de Catalunya. And it was a very, very interesting race. Changeable conditions, like I mentioned. But it was Bailey Kennedy in the Renault taking victory tonight. Alex, who has been good enough to join us, says, well played, fellas, and a big thank you for watching, Alex. We love you up there in New South Wales as our drivers enter the post-race party chat, and we will have a chat with them very shortly. And I reckon we've got Bailey into the party chat. Bailey, you there? Hello. Mate, fantastic result tonight. You kept a cool head in changeable conditions, mate. You didn't put a foot wrong. You played the strategy perfectly. Talk us through your race. No, good decision. Never listen to Jeff, of course, your race engineer. That's how bad things happen. But, mate, you picked up the win in Australia. No points last week. You didn't get any result last week. And then another win this week. And the fastest lap as well. Of course, nobody could beat you after it started raining. But where do you see yourself in the championship now, mate? We've got 5 rounds to go. Are you a chance, despite missing out on points in round 2? And I don't think we're getting, let us know, I don't think we're getting BK, I don't think we're getting you through on the chat there, Bailey. But we can do a translation, I think, Brad, of what Bailey has said. I had a really good race. The biggest decision in my race was to change from the dry to the intermediate tyres. I had a difficult start, my engineer was being a bitch, and I didn't know when to change, but luckily I changed at just the right time, and I managed to pick up the result. Thank you for that, Bailey, the translation there. I'm not too sure, Bailey, whether you're allowing your voice to be shared in the party chat, so...
yeah, I just fixed it then. I didn't realise that the setting automatically changed.
He's back, folks. Never mind about my cheesy translation of your race. But congratulations, Bailey. We won't get you to go through that again. But congratulations tonight, mate. Second win of the year out of 3. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, mate. Congratulations and all the best for next week.
Cheers, boys.
All right, there we go, Bailey. We caught the arse end of that for everyone watching at home. But that was still good to hear from our race winner in the end. As Mr. Consistency now has decided to join us in the party chat. Harry Ryan, 19, are you there?
G'day, how are you?
Yep, I'm in career best form, mate, and so are you at the moment. Mr. Consistency, your third second place finish. You were robbed of the win, of course, in Australia due to the penalties, mate, but talk us through your race tonight. You finished fairly comfortably in second place, but talk us through what happened.
Yeah, well, I got a really good start. I think I started 6th, then I got up to like 3rd, and then BK also got a really good start, so that was pretty good. But yeah, the Wobby was lagging pretty badly in like the first couple of laps until Wilco left. So I couldn't really make any moves up until when it started raining. And I mean, yeah, once it started raining, I really couldn't do anything, because anything without traction, I guess. Other than that, it was a pretty good race.
Well, congratulations, mate, in trying conditions, and yep, reading you loud and clear. Getting a few comments about that lovely, deep, dulcet tones voice of yours too, Harry. You're just... you've got plenty of fans here on the live chat, as Alex saying, Harry Deep Voice 19. But congratulations, mate. Second. So you know what that means next week, mate. P1 for you, hopefully. But thanks very much for joining us, mate, and giving us your time tonight. And congratulations on another good result tonight.
Thank you.
Awesome. Harry Ryan, 19 there, getting the job done in P2 for Mercedes. As, boy, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Brad, make sure you don't talk. But Brody the Taswegian has finished in P3. And Brody, are you there? And we are reading you loud and clear. Brody, come in. Over.
Over.
Well, mate, talk us through your race. This could be Brad or Brody. I'm not too sure. But Broads, talk us through your race, brother. You've made Tasmania proud here tonight. You missed out on a podium last week, but you weren't going to let that happen this week, were you?
I got a podium last week.
Yeah, he got a podium last week.
Yeah, I can't remember what I had for breakfast, Brody. So sorry about that. But I'm not travelling that. Yeah, okay. So, well, congratulations, Broadster, on your second podium,
Thank
mate.
you.
Talk us through your race.
Yeah, it was a tough race actually. I couldn't really pass anyone the first 10 laps or whatever because it'll lag and because we're at the worst track on the F1 calendar. And then as soon as it rained, I had no pace. So I got third still. So that's good. So.
All right, and fantastic stuff. Sam saying I've been on the beers a little bit too much today. It's actually gin, but anyway, that's a long story. We won't go into that. And Alex, the man from Parramatta, saying the real Brody is finally here. And would the real Brody please stand up? And I've got to ask you one question, Brody. Will they let me into Tasmania after I've made that mistake just before?
Yeah. Well, we don't have like all the tight security and stuff that other airports have in Tasmania. We're actually still on dial-up internet here, which is a lot more reliable than the NBN. So.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
Tough.
I can sneak in into Tassie if I want. God, who can forget the old dial-up internet? Ding, 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 ding. And that was absolutely. You boys are a little bit too young to remember that, but thank you, Broadster. Another podium for you. How could I stuff that one up? I've actually got the results right in front of me. So anyway, Broadster, thank you to yourself for joining us there, our favourite Taswegian, mate. Congratulations, your second podium, I beg your pardon, of the season, and all the best for next week.
Thanks, buddy. Hopefully it's dry.
Yep, and awesome stuff there. A man from Tasmania getting a lot of love in the chat there. Hashtag Can't Dude Nation, of course. Says Sam saying BK nearly overtook you and I started last. So plenty of chat, plenty of banter in the chat. But I reckon we're almost done here, folks. And a big thank you to everybody who's joined us on the live stream once again tonight. Thursday nights quickly becoming my favourite night of the week. Who am I kidding, Brad? It is my favourite night of the week, but we will be back. 3 rounds have gone in this SRL Championship for F1 2019. Don't forget, if you want to get involved on Xbox One, PC or PS4, visit the Supreme Racing website and jump on to the forums and register your interest. But Brad, we're almost out of time, mate, but it's been an absolute pleasure to call with you once again.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to call. Crazy amount of action in this race, and I tell you what, I'm looking forward to next week at Canada because we could have another chance of rain. Canada always throws a curveball in the season.
Yes, Canada with rain and also corner cuts as well. Very much a corner cutter's paradise. As Sam says, follow F1 Banter on Instagram, gents. We certainly will give you a follow there, Sam, if you give us a mention on that page as well. And a bit of Teddy Kravitz action. And Moz is saying, I make these streams. I should be the pit lane reporter. Great to have everybody's company tonight. Like I mentioned, we are out of time. 10 people watching at the moment. I just want you to know I love each and every one of you. And we'll be back next week from 8 p.m. Eastern Australian time on the Kid Buyers channel for round 4 of this SRL F1 2019 Championship. Have a great weekend. Have a great week. And we'll see you next time around. It's bye for now.